We're recording. Hey, welcome everybody. Not what we wanted, but it's going to be what we get today. And instead of doing our normal Facebook Live, we're going to record the conversation and we're going to post it so that everybody can see it. But I am, as always, excessively excited to be a part of the conversation because I am a novice in this area, and I'm not afraid to say that. It's always important that we bring experts to the topic, right? And so today we're going to be talking about the Safe Families Office, which is at the Fulton County Courthouse. And then more importantly, we're also going to be talking about how do we obtain a temporary protective order. We can talk about that in the framework of where we are today with COVID-19. And we can also talk about it in relation to how would we normally do it and what's the process that we normally go through it. So I don't want to dominate this conversation. I do want to make sure that our special guests have an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'm going to call you guys out since we're all probably different on everybody's screen, but I'm going to let Jill just introduce yourself, tell us what you do and who you work for.
Okay, so I'm Jill Sherling Allison. I am the managing legal advocate for Partnership Against Domestic Violence, and I co-run the Safe Families Office with Joel.
Well, Joel, since she brought you up, man, and you have this awesome virtual background, you probably don't have to tell us who you work for, but I would just introduce yourself, man, and just tell us who you work for and how long you've been there.
So I'm Joel Correa. I am the managing attorney at the Safe Families Office. And as Jill mentioned, I work with AVLF and work in partnership with Jill and PADV to co-run the Safe Families Office. I've been there for over 3 years now. And really, we've come a long way in terms of our technology, our processes. So we're doing a lot of great work, which I'm happy to share in today's discussion.
Perfect, thank you, and we appreciate you for jumping on. And Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're not new to this, but tell us who you are and what brings you here today.
I'm a regular now. I'm Samantha Macedo, Vice President of Prevention and Outreach for Partnership Against Domestic Violence. The Legal Advocacy Program is one of the programs I supervise.
So just so that we're fair, we've done this a couple of different times. And the first question that I've posed to all of the guests, because we were talking about it just off air, we live in a negative time where we are bombarded by negative information all the time. But both organizations, AVLF, Partnership Against Domestic Violence, we're still doing some very awesome work. And so what I'd love for Joel and Jill to do, Joel, you can jump in first. Just give us, man, a great story that we can all be proud of that's centered around the work that you guys are doing at the Safe Families Office or AVLF. Either one is perfect.
Sure. Well, this was Safe Families Office story, and it's actually very prevalent to what we're doing right now. We recently had a client who was living with her abuser in isolation. Really, she had been isolated from her family, her friends, her entire network of support. Her abuser had been making threats of harm to her if she had tried to leave the house. Threatened to really cut her off financially and really continue to make her life even more miserable. If she called the cops, she assured her that if the police were called, no one would be arrested because of right now the pandemic, providing her with false information about law enforcement not doing anything to really prevent any type of domestic violence that's happening. And really just generally has been manipulating and controlling her daily activities, cutting off her internet access, cutting off her phone. His behavior had gotten so bad, it had escalated so much that she began to barricade herself within the home in different rooms. And at some point, she was able to lock herself in the bathroom of the home and call the Safe Families Office. And after a few minutes, was able to basically coordinate with our staff. She spoke with Erica Bora, our staff attorney, and she basically, after a few minutes of her phone conversation, Erica prepared all of her paperwork, coordinated with the judge in Fulton County, who then basically Zoom conference the client in and talked to her for a few minutes, judge granted her protective order and granted her exclusive possession of her home, which meant that her abuser would have to leave the home. But this is really where things really happened for her. Once she got her protective order, we were able to coordinate with both the Atlanta Police Department and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office with the help of Cynthia Padilla Pearson to basically show up within seconds of the client calling 911 to come in and remove the abuser from the home, serve him with the TPO.
Wow.
And basically all of this while she remained locked in her bedroom, locked in her bathroom. So this would not have been possible without the technology that we're using right now during this pandemic. And it also wouldn't be possible with all the staff and all the teamwork that we're doing. I mean, this is just one of so many stories that we're really dealing with on a regular basis. And I'm sure that it's not the only one. I mean, Jill could probably share many similar stories of what we've been encountering. But what's been amazing about this time right now has been how many of us have really got doing this work from home, have been just able to step up and assist anyone who's calling us on the phone and in coordination with the Fulton County Superior Court and the law enforcement agencies to do this. So hopefully that is encouraging news.
That was an amazing, like, you know, you always open the floor for that, this question. And I'm blown away at the level of what you guys are able to do for this one client. And I think it's important because, and I think you said it, like this is just one story. And I think it just highlights the fact that to a survivor, if you're living in that situation, you don't necessarily have to, like, you don't have to be, is I think what I'm going with. Your story can be this story. Jill, do you have another that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, something similar. So I think, you know, we were nervous about moving to a mobile TPO process, but I think it's been helpful. So like the client I have, she was, he had taken the car keys, taken her phone, you know, she luckily had another phone that she had put up. And so she called us while he was grocery shopping and was able to get the TPO while he was out of the home getting groceries. And so kind of similar, we're able to coordinate with the police to have her served or removed from the home. We were able to coordinate with the judge getting her child support. Also, we were able to pay some of her bills to kind of help her in the meantime and get him removed from the home. So I think it was, I was really nervous when we went mobile. Like, will this be harder for clients? Will it be a barrier for them? And I found it to be the opposite. She would have never been able to have the time to leave the home and go to the courthouse and go through the process. And she was able to do that because it's a lot quicker process online. And we're able to break it up into different, maybe we do the paperwork this hour and then maybe, tomorrow we can do some more if it's impossible for them to get out of the home.
So in this time, and this, Sam, Joel, either one, has this created for you guys a different level of coordination that's happening with between us and the Safe Families Office, with the police, with the court? I mean, has this created a better sense of coordination and the ability to be more mobile and act faster?
I can try to answer that one. I think that it's created opportunities for us to do this. I think that there's always going to be a challenge in terms of making sure that we're coordinating in all of these situations properly. There's a lot of maybe misinformation out there about whether law enforcement is even enforcing protective orders or arresting folks for committing domestic violence at home. But it's not really, a lot of it it's going to be misinformation, like I said. I mean, law enforcement by and large is trying to do the right thing, and they're trying to get people into a safe situation. So it's just a matter of continuing to coordinate, continuing to speak with the right people, and it's going to happen. I mean, it's created opportunities like this one that maybe beforehand we might not have probably talked to as closely with some of these law enforcement officers until after the fact, until something may have gone wrong. But again, it's a testament to some of the great work that our team, and particularly, I want to give a shout out to, I keep mentioning Cynthia Padilla Pearson, because she's been doing so much to try to get out there in the community with the law enforcement agencies so that they can understand, they're well trained, they're well versed in the TPO law, and they understand what they should do and what they shouldn't be doing in these situations. So the work isn't done, but we're definitely continuing on the right path.
Like, man, and Sam will tell you, I get fired up pretty easy, but I get excited about things pretty easy. But I mean, this is one of those things where, and we talk about it as a staff, are there things that we have done in quarantine and in pandemic that we want to see post-pandemic and post-quarantine? And this to me seems like something that we'd want to keep in place. I'm sorry, you guys got me fired up real quick. And it's because it just seems like we're able to access each other so much faster. And this, like I said, just a greater level of coordination between our office with the police and the judge. And it's all built on the one goal of saving a survivor's life. And so anyway, I'm fired up. I have more questions. Sam, I'm going to pull you into this conversation here real quick. Because to me, the Safe Families Office, it seems special, and again, novice to the movement, right? But it doesn't seem like this is a model that is used cross country. So, what makes the partnership between AVLF and Partnership Against Domestic Violence and the courts so special?
Well, it is a very special partnership. I feel like we could talk all day about that. And how what an amazing team there is in this partnership. So the Safe Families Office in particular is the program that we have running out of Fulton County, and it's a partnership between Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation and the Fulton County Superior and State Courts. So the Fulton County Superior and State Courts have provided our agencies a court-based office and general support for our mission. And then both of our organizations have come together to provide services to folks who are applying for a protection order. This partnership has been ongoing for more than 10 years. And it started out, we were the first court-based lawyer-staffed program, and we started out with a very small space, and we've come such a long way. We are constantly looking at the program and seeing what can we do better. So it is a very, very special program. It's been named best practice as a best practice model by the Commission on Domestic and Sexual Violence of the American Bar Association. So it does carry a very special position or partnership here. And what we've been able to develop just in the last couple of years alone, yes, we have attorneys and domestic violence advocates working in the same space, helping survivors of who are, again, seeking a protection order. But beyond that, we have, like, AVLF has 2 social workers connecting clients to additional services. PADV has a mental health specialist, because we know that the court system can be a very complex and confusing system to navigate for survivors who have experienced trauma. So we want to provide as many wraparound services as we can at this location. So yes, it's a very special partnership.
Man, so it sounds like the thing that happened was you got Joel and Jill into the office, and then magic started happening. Is that a fair assessment?
Always, yes.
Okay. I mean, so Jill, I'd like to ask you a quick question. What makes the work of the Safe Families Office so important?
Well, I think it really gives survivors back some power. Mm-hmm. They come in and first of all, they're terrified of the legal system. A lot of times abusers have used that as a fear. They'll take your children, they really try to manipulate them. And a lot of times they give them false information about what the legal system looks like, about their rights to their own children. So I think one thing I love about it is just watching somebody come in and feel so powerless and then leaving feeling like they have some control over their life, that something's been given back to them. They know their rights. They know, that they're not alone, that there is somebody there to help them. I think that just watching the transition from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they walk out is amazing. You could just see a lot of times they come in feeling so defeated and finally leave feeling like, you know, within a few hours they're leaving feeling like there is some kind of support. They have somebody who cares about them. They have, you know, some kind of legal ramifications that can help them get out of the situation.
So Joel, why, I think, and Sam, it's and something that Sam said earlier kind of triggered a follow-up question. Why is it so important for us to have lawyers and advocates and counselors all working in the same office? Like, why is it so important for us to have all of those pieces in the same office available to survivors at one time?
Well, as Sam and Jill have pointed out, it really, what makes this office and this partnership so unique is that each one of us brings our own set of knowledge and expertise or experience to this office, which really kind of wraps services around for our clients. In other words, a protective order, that's why people come to the Safe Families office, is to obtain a protective order. We also want to make sure that they're going to be able to have access to maybe transportation to the courthouse, shelter, food and clothes for their children. They're going to be safe. They want to make sure that this isn't just, you know, so to speak, a piece of paper. I mean, that really we're setting them up for success in terms of being able to separate themselves from this abuse to the extent that we can. And when they do come to court, that we're able to have the legal support that they need against what may, as Sam mentioned, be a really complicated and really intimidating process to step up, stand in court and really kind of testify in front of an abuser with the judge, with lawyers around. So I think that many of our clients would tell you, many of the survivors who have come through the Safe Families would tell you that having gone through this process was incredibly helpful for them to basically come away with a successful legal outcome.
Thank you. So Sam, why are temporary protective orders so important to saving lives for survivors?
Well, in particular, I think a protection order may be the first step that a survivor takes. That is, you know, in terms of, you know, holding some kind of accountability. So, for example, a lot of the folks that come in through the Safe Families office, you know, they recently experienced a violent event. The police came and said, you need a protection order, and they just show up at the courthouse, you know, not really knowing who AVLF is or PADV is. And again, it highlights the importance of having this partnership here because, all right, so you got a protection order. What's next? Do you know, how are you going to pay? You know, if your partner is removed from the home, how are the bills going to get paid? Do you have diapers? Do you have, you know, so connecting that one person to the additional services and programs from our agencies, it's what we're there to do. And because it may be just the very first step that this person is taking in terms of, you know, reaching out for help. You know, they're asking the courts, please just keep this person away from me, right? And in cases where the protection order, again, so we always ask the person applying, you know, is this protection order going to help? Will your partner obey this protection order? And in those cases when the survivor, again, believes that it will help, having a protection order can be very helpful because, again, it's that it's helpful in stopping or de-escalating the violence. You know, it shows the abuser that you know, the survivor is taking steps to stop that violence. And so having, and the whole process that the survivor goes through in that, yes, it can be very nerve-wracking, but like Jill said, you know, it's about finding their voice again and, you know, saying like, this is gonna stop right now.
Right.
So You know, if Joel and Jill have anything else to add about that. You know, I know, you know, there are some very interesting research saying that yes, protection orders do work when, you know, they can be very effective. But I think, again, it's the process of that that the survivor goes through, that in other programs and in other situations, it can be very devastating. But what the Safe Families Office is there to do is to, again, make that experience better for the survivor.
Wow. So I'd love for you guys to, because we're here talking about, yes, the partnership between, or the creation of the Safe Families Office, but we're also talking about temporary protective orders. So what's the process of attain? So somebody walks into the door, walk me through pretty briefly how the process works so that they know what to expect. I'm sorry, either one, Joel or Jill, jump in and just kind of walk me through that process.
Sure.
So I'll explain it. I'll do pre-COVID, and then
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's a perfect thing. So Jill, can you do pre-COVID? Joel, you do COVID.
Okay. So normally they'll come to the 8th floor, what's called a one-stop shop at the Fulton County Courthouse. And if they're intimate partners, so they had, you know, an intimate relationship of some sort, they'll get referred down to the Safe Families Office. When you get to the Safe Families Office, we have you guys have them do a little intake, and then we'll have them sit with either an attorney or an advocate and kind of go over what's going on, you know, prepare their legal documents, talk about safety, find out if there's any other resources we can connect them with. Just really sit down and talk about what's going on in their particular, you know, life that's brought them to the TPO office today. And then we will prepare all their documents for them. We'll go to court with them to see the judge. Usually the judge, pre-COVID, the judge usually would see people about 3 times a day. So we would take them up and she would speak to them briefly, just find out what's going on. And then approve and deny it there. Usually if there's, you know, some kind of ground and some reason for somebody to be in fear of their safety, usually they would approve it. You never know what a judge will do, but for the most part, those are kind of what they're looking for, that there's a legitimate reason for them to be in fear and that they're in fear. And then we would get their paperwork together. And then they would come back to court, usually about 3 weeks later, for the 12-month hearing. And at that time, you know, just depending on the availability of AVLF, you know, they would have a lawyer or an advocate with them in court, and the judge would make decisions there about what the next 12 months is going to look like. And also we would connect them with social workers or with, you know, community outreach advocates and get them those kind of resources too. That's what it looked like pre.
Yeah. Hey, so Joe, before you jump into the post-COVID or in during COVID, can you talk about why it's so important for the survivor to have one of you guys sitting with them in court? Why is that so important?
I'm sorry. Is that a question directed towards me or Jill?
What was that?
Is that question directed towards me or
Jill?
No.
Yeah, I'd like to go Jill. So Jill,
Okay.
Could you just before Joe talks about now, right? Why is it so important to have, because you mentioned several times the fact that either you or somebody from your staff or AVLF, there would always be somebody sitting in court with the survivor. Why is that so important?
Well, for several reasons. You know, just to have the emotional support alone, it's really scary for somebody to go in and tell your personal business to somebody. I mean, this is something that you've hidden, usually a lot of times try to hide from your family, your friends, your coworkers, and now, you know, you're asked to go tell a complete stranger, the judge, what's going on. And so it's just good, to have the emotional support. And then when we go to the 12-month hearings, it's good to have, you know, if you can have a lawyer, I mean, it's always great to have a lawyer. And then also it just provides that emotional support where maybe they're facing their abuser in the 12-month hearing. Maybe they're coming and we're used almost even as a physical buffer sometimes. So to put space between them and the abuser, to just give them that emotional support, to it's good for the
Thank you. No, that's exactly, and what I always, in these conversations, one of the things that I want to do is not only give people the information that they need, but also reassure them of the process, right? And to know that, hey, you, survivor, are going to have a Joel or a Jill sitting next to you in court, so that you're not going through the process alone. I think in the last Facebook Live we talked about having a strong community surrounding you. And what I appreciate, what I've heard both of you guys talk about today, is that when someone comes to the Safe Families office, the thing that they're getting that they may not have is a community. They're getting an advocate, they're getting a lawyer, they're getting somebody that's going to be by their side the whole time.
Yeah, and you develop a relationship with clients, for sure. Like, I have clients will call me, maybe they felt good when they left court, and then tonight they're struggling, and they'll call me. There's that relationship. You have somebody that is understanding, who's not going to judge you, who is just kind of there for you, that's not your family. You don't feel, a lot of times the family, people have told you that they thought it was a bad mistake, to be in that relationship, and you don't want to, it's just a pride thing. It's hard to say, and sometimes family don't really know how to support correctly. So it's really important that family gets the information, that they reach out to somebody, really look into the dynamics of domestic violence so they can better understand what's going on with their own family. But it's just nice to have somebody. We're not here to judge you. Whatever decision you make, that's your decision. We're not here to push you one way or another. We're just here to be supportive. And so I think that relationship is really important for a lot of survivors.
Thank you. Hey, so Joe, I'm sorry to cut you off before. Yes, tell us about pre or in the midst of COVID, how are you guys still supporting survivors and getting temporary protective orders?
So, in addition to a lot of the non-procedural steps that Jill mentioned that we're still offering right now, basically what the process now has allowed us to do is to allow people to file, as I mentioned earlier today, a protective order remotely. So the first step is going to be to call the Safe Families office at 404-612-4324 between the hours of we're open between 9 and 4 p.m. And the other way you can do it is by also calling the Family Division, which I think is our number is 404-613-4579. But ultimately, like we've mentioned before already, we're working in partnership with the court and the Family Division's office. So many of those cases are going to be kind of screened and referred to our office. So at some point we'll talk to you if you're wanting to file a protective order over the phone. You can still come in the courthouse and file between the hours of, I think, 9 and 1 o'clock right now. But in addition to having that option, if you're feeling like you want to stay home or you can't leave the home, or if you're in the middle of your car or grocery shopping, whatever it is, if you call that number between the hours of 9 and really, I want to say 12 and 12:30, because the thing is the judge will hear these cases remotely at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're trying to get people to get their paperwork done. So what we're going to do is, we're going to talk to the individual over the phone, get information from them, what's happening, and then that phone call shouldn't, it's a few minutes long, and then we'll prepare all the paperwork for you, and then we'll coordinate with the court, coordinate with the judge, and the judge is going to send you to your email a link to open, like a Zoom link, so that you can video conference with the judge for a few minutes at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And after a few minutes, maybe even seconds of having spoken to the judge just wants to verify that you are who you are. The judge is going to ask you if you have your ID, to present that over the phone, over the camera, and just swear under oath that you are who you are and you're filing this protective order, and everything in your protective order is true and correct. And that paperwork, like I said before, will have been prepared by us and reviewed and verified by you when you're filing it. So you won't have to actually do any of the writing or preparation of the paperwork. So once that happens, then the court is going to file that protective order once you've spoken to the judge, and the judge will hopefully grant that protective order. The court is then going to email you to the same email that you've been corresponding with a copy of your protective order if the judge granted it. And then the judge or the court really will coordinate with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office to ensure that service is enabled. If there's an emergency like the one I mentioned earlier, then of course our office can assist in coordinating some sort of more like emergency plan rather than waiting a protective order to be served by the sheriff's office, which can take a few days. But like I mentioned before, if there's an emergency, we're there to assist. Now, if there's any other need for any other resources in the meantime, of course, we have an office full of very knowledgeable people who can refer them to the right places. The hearings right now, that second hearing that Jill mentioned, those 12-month protective order hearings are a little bit of an unknown at the moment, because there's been an emergency order signed by the Supreme Court of Georgia that has been also signed by the Chief Justice of the Superior Court in Fulton County, Chief Judge Brasher, that is reflecting this sort of pandemic right now, the circumstances surrounding it. And so they've postponed these 12-month hearings in addition to a lot of other court proceedings. So to avoid people from coming to the courthouse and getting exposed. But there is talk at the moment, which hasn't been solidified yet in writing, but there's talk that they're going to start hearing these cases again. They're going to start scheduling them as early as May 18th. Now, again, this hasn't been officially, written down or ordered yet, but just to give folks a heads up. So if you file a protective order in the last couple of months, or even if you had a hearing schedule that was suspended at some point, be on the lookout to your email, contact our office or contact the Fulton County Family Division's office to see what's happening with your hearing. Now, if you're filing right now, it's possible that you do get a hearing scheduled for that 12-month hearing. So there's a lot of unknowns at the moment. Right. Hopefully that we're going to be able to resolve some of those in the next few days or next week or so.
Joel, one of the things that I felt like listening to you explain this process is what we're asking for survivors right now is just to take one step, right? And sure. Just to call the Safe Families office or call Family Division. And it seems like once the survivor, make that first call, take that first step, you guys, Jill, Joel, and your team, y'all are taking the ball and running with it. And that's such an amazing thing from my perspective to hear, because not that I'm a survivor, but speaking as if I was, you're not requiring anything of me. You're just saying, hey, you're there to listen and hear, and then boom, you're just running with paperwork. And then a couple hours later, I'm on the phone or I'm in a Zoom call with the judge and potentially getting a protective order. That's, like Sam said earlier, that's the first step to getting me to a safe place and saving my life. Again, I'm fired up and I'm loving everything that I'm hearing. And I'm so freaking appreciative of the work that you guys do at AVLF and what you guys are and what we're doing at the Safe Families office, because it is 100% saving people's lives, and I'm so excited. I do have a question for Sam about temporary protective orders in Gwinnett, because they're different. But yes, I do want to make sure that if you're watching this video and you do need some of the other resources that AVLF has, please visit their website. I think it's simply avlf.org, because they do have some amazing lawyers that are there to help you in other areas of your life, not just temporary protective orders. So I do want to make sure while we're here and on the video, we do give an awesome plug to our partners at AVLF, because like I said, they do some amazing work and they have some amazing lawyers that are doing some great work. So y'all keep doing what you're doing. Sam, the process is different in every county. We service Gwinnett and Fulton County, so AVLF and our SFO office cover Fulton County. Tell us really quickly about the process in Gwinnett.
Right, and so that's another reason why, going back to your earlier question, this partnership is so special is because we only have it at Fulton County, and as you mentioned, so as you mentioned, PADV also works in Gwinnett County, and each county is responding to the pandemic the best way and that they can, and with the resources they have available. So each county, the process of a protection order looks different in each county. And so for us at PADV who work in the Gwinnett County as well, that process is a little bit different. So to get a protection order in Gwinnett County, you need to apply in person Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Gwinnett County Jail, and that's located on 2900 University Parkway in Lawrenceville. They do have a website with a little bit more information, and that's gwinnettcountycourts.com. And you will see some information there about family violence and protection orders. But yeah, you do have to come in person to apply, where you'll speak to a judge on that same day, and then come back later for a second hearing, a 12-month hearing, as Jill mentioned. That's still part of the process. And if you want to be connected to our legal advocates are working remotely. So if you want to be connected to a legal advocate for Gwinnett County, you can call our crisis line 404-870-1766. So I do want to give a shout out to, the Safe Families Office, because they're being modest right now. Just the level of work, the quality of work that the Safe Families Office staff provides. Yes, they help with the paperwork, but it's so much more than that. They're constantly assessing for risks. They're connecting clients to additional services. It's just the commitment and to helping survivors. Joel mentioned earlier, this has been challenging times, but also I liked what he said about being an opportunity to serve clients in a different way. And it's just, again, it just shows the level of passion that this staff has for helping clients who are getting protection orders. Our legal advocates in Gwinnett, again, are working remotely, and they're doing everything they can to provide that same service to survivors.
Thank you, Sam. I told you, I loved one thing I said earlier in a different live discussion is I've loved how our organization has really flexed its muscles and just said, no matter what, we're going to be here for survivors. And that ideal, that same process or that same feeling, you see it throughout the Safe Families Office. Just hearing Joe and Jill talk about what they're doing, man, it is so inspiring to see. Mm-hmm. And I want survivors to know that if they need the support, if they need that service, if you pick up the phone now, and both of you guys gave phone numbers excessively fast. So if you guys could just one more time, just give Joel, if you could give that number, how do they get in contact with us at Safe Families?
So our number is 404-612-4324, and we're available between 9 and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
So literally right now, if they need something from somebody, they can pick up the phone and call that number, and somebody from our staff is going to be there to help them, right? I mean, that's in a nutshell.
Correct. They'll be connected with somebody who can talk to them about what their needs are and direct them to resources if our office ourselves can't immediately assist. And
then one of the things I heard you speak on earlier was to make that call before 12:30, so that because you guys need time to complete that paperwork. Is that a fair assessment?
Correct. And because the judge, we originally they had been doing these hearings on a rolling basis. So in other words, as soon as you had prepared your paperwork and as soon as you were finished, the judge would be ready to hear from you. That kind of created a little bit of disorganization because at some point, things come up. Maybe you thought you were going to be ready to speak to the judge, but then you're at home and or whatever. You have children, and your schedule just kind of bounces around a little bit. And so the judge may, at that point, not hear from you if because they've taken on something else. So to give them everyone a little bit more predictability in terms of when this is happening, the judge has designated 1 p.m. The time at which everyone who's filed a protective or who's filing a new one will be heard from by video conference. Mm-hmm. So we just, we encourage everyone to call in earlier in the morning as possible, but 12:30 is really kind of the cutoff time to have the paperwork kind of ready and have the judge make aware of this new protective order that's been filed.
Perfect. So this is it, man. This is the last question that I have for Joel and Jill, and I've asked this of everybody because I do want to just give you guys the space to really look into the camera and speak directly to a survivor, because I feel like that's very important that they hear some empowerment from you guys. So Jill, if you could take it away, man, what's the one thing that you'd like to say to a survivor right now?
We're here for you. That hasn't changed. That won't change. Reach out to us. Even if you're not sure you're ready to do a TPO, we can talk. We can figure out what's going on. If you need us, we're here. That won't change. So please just call. You don't have to make any decisions today. We could just talk about what's going on in your situation.
That's awesome. And Joel, what's the one thing that you'd like a survivor to know right now?
One thing, there's a lot of things that I would like to say, but really I would say this. As you alluded to at the beginning of this conversation, Jeff, there's a lot of negativity, a lot of bad news in the world going on right now, and it would cause anyone anxiety and a real heightened level of discouragement about moving forward with our lives right now. But I would say this, not least of which is the pandemic and some really horrible economic downturns and the despicable news that's come out of Georgia these days, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But I would say this: whatever the situation is, whatever the crisis that you may be experiencing externally and even internally, you do not have to sit in isolation with an abuser. You are you have the power to make a call, and you can either call 911. Law enforcement is still responding to any emergency, and call our office, like I mentioned, 404-612-4324. Even if you're not ready to make a step today, if you just need information, if you want to help, if you want some help making a plan, we're here for you whenever you're ready.
Thank you. That was you guys are so empowering. And in the work that you're doing, Joel, Jill, and Sam, I just, again, I think I've expressed it a lot, but I want to make sure that I tell you guys again, just in case the community never gets to tell you, like, we appreciate 100% the work that y'all are doing. Keep fighting for us. Keep fighting for survivors. If y'all need something, or if the community, speaking specifically to the community, if you guys need us, I think Joel gave our number a couple of different times, and when I post this, I'll make sure I include the number to the Safe Families office. But if you guys need us, again, we're here. We're still saving lives. We're all still working from our homes, obviously, like you guys are. But we appreciate the community for giving us this opportunity to share and to really be in a survivor's life. So if there's something that we can do for you as an organization, or if there's something that AVLF can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out. Both organizations outside of the Safe Families office are doing some amazing work. We're here for you. We appreciate you guys. So Joel, Jill, Sam, thank you for participating in this non-Facebook Live today, but I appreciate you. It was awesome, and so thank you guys again. And if there's something that I can do for you personally, either one of you three, please let me know. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See y'all later.